Oh, look at them go. Look at them go. Stuff is happening. We're building things. We're making stuff. And the base has gotten a little bigger, and a couple of other things have changed once again. Hello, everybody. This is Frogman. Welcome back to Captain of Industry. We've done a lot in between episodes. I believe we've probably gone about 1,200 years since the last time we met, or I don't know. It's been a little while. I've been having fun letting the game run. We did all of the research that we could do, at least at this point in time. I mean, I can still do these, and I probably should be doing those. But we are now unlocked clear up to the research lab number 4 and the research parts number 4, so the lab equipment, whatever. We're going to stop probably right about here for just a little bit because these are going to require a little bit of work for us to do. And again, from here on out, everything is at least 3 times the amount of what we were looking at prior to the last episode. So yes, we're at 14, 1500, 1200, 1200, 1500, 1700, and these I do believe we have to go through a rocket to get to a couple of things to get there. And yes, 2700 for the next 27,000, excuse me, thousands. Get the numbers right, my friend. This is where I'm saying I've been trying to do a couple of things and get this done. Because I waited, and I know I could have just slowly let those 2 labs trickle that through, but in the process of doing various things, I didn't want to sit here and have to babysit this process, this factory, while I terraformed and moved things around. And we all know that that's the way it ends up doing. You're just busy doing a little side project and letting the game run and come back to an entire mess of stuff that is now broken. But given all that said, we now have a whole bunch of new toys to play with. I've already since implemented the highest level of dock that we can get at this point, so we're now looking at Cargo Depot 8, I believe. What is this thing called? Yes, something like that, which means we now have 8 slots for our cargo ships to deliver various goodness to us. This is an amazing upgrade, and one of the things that is the most irritating about the whole point, and kind of the reasoning why in some of my other playthroughs I have ignored building the, where is this, boats, where are boats? Boats are in here, right? I have ignored building the first 2 levels of the cargo depots because of the fact that the first 2 levels of the cargo depots are not upgradable to the last 2, which is kind of stupid. So if you build a cargo depot number 2 and we put this down, and I want to show this. Notice how there is no notification on the left-hand side that this thing is upgradable. Unlike the cargo depot number 1, you'll get the little yellow thingy. Those little yellow lines means that this is upgradable to a cargo depot number 2. So in order to build a cargo depot number 3 or 4, you have to tear out your cargo depot number 2 and move it to something like this that is then upgradable to the next one. Again, those are both research, and this is another one of those things. You can tell this game is definitely under a bit of trying to figure out. But it's kind of dumb to me that, for one, the cargo depot number 2 is not upgradable to cargo depot number 3, and that I am allowed to get both the cargo depot number 3 and 4 in the same, or should say, what is it, 6 and 8. I'm just going to go like this. 1, 2, 3. The last 2 layers of the cargo depots are unlockable together, which to me doesn't make any sense. I mean, you still have plenty of tree out here. Why not just put that over here and make it work? Or whatever. But again, it's kind of one of those things. It's just, when that comes in, it's totally aggravating because you have to take all of your infrastructure down, which means you have to kind of upgrade a couple of things. So I threw in a couple of buckets, filled up the, well, we're at the largest loose modules now as far as I am aware, so we've gone and done all of the upgrading that we can for these. But you have to do all of this, make enough storage up so that you can rip all of this stuff out without running out of whatever it is that you're trying to work with, to then rebuild it right back and then get a brand new big gigantic cargo ship that's going to take care of your problem. So we have since done that to the coal, which has allowed us to turn on the rest of our coal, our power plant here. We're making a cool 125 megawatts of power, and we've done the same with the oil platform over here as well, using the large modules on everything. Yeah, it's just one of those aggravations that happens. And oh good, Spello's on his way. He's up doing the work. We are going to be leaving this one as a 4-module boat for the time being, mainly because I'm going to have to kind of, again, babysit the amount of sulfur that we're burning through, because this process will burn through your sulfur if you are not paying attention to it. The entire problem, or entire reason why I built this at all, is so that I could run these guys. And so we're now getting a cool minus 6% global effect on our maintenance. The next one, I believe, will give us a 1% thing. I don't know if I'm going to build it or not, just for the amount of stuff that it takes. But again, we're only burning 4 fuel gas every 60 seconds to make this thing work. So theoretically, with the current sulfur production that we're producing, which is something like, let's go over the last 100 years. At the most, I think we've produced somewhere around like maybe 100 in a year or two, maybe 200. I don't believe this 300. I believe this is just moving it from one point to another. So I would figure at the most we're somewhere in the 150 range as far as producing the current sulfur production that we're doing. So again, this is just built specifically for this so that I can make a little bit of excess fuel gas should I need to. And if we do have an issue with our fuel coming in over here, all I do is I set this tank right here to say they can keep empty if above X amount of whatever. The trucks will haul that over here for now, dump it into this tank, and that will then be processed into our oil facility to make diesel fuel. So there have been a couple of other upgrades over here. I went ahead and stuck in a big gigantic tank for the ammonia, and well, we're going to have to do a little bit of goofing around with that as well. What we're going to end up doing eventually with this is we're going to end up probably cracking the ammonia into hydrogen and nitrogen so that we can feed it back into the rest of the system. But for now, I think we're doing okay on that level of the end of things. I did move our, I don't know whether that was last episode or the episode prior to that, but I did go ahead and move the fertilizer production down here to where its sources were a little more close to where they were actually getting a few things. Just to trying to remove some of the trucking, because as you notice, there's also another nice little line of, well, pipe that comes all the way over here to feed this tank, a line of pipe that comes all the way over here to feed these two tanks so that we can keep our ships full of fuel at all times. And since I was in the mood, I ran that pipe all the way the heck down here, and I mean all the way the heck down over here to feed this tank so that we were no longer trucking between here and there. There's been a few changes to the rail yards, yes, as well as some of the logistics. I did go ahead and move, well, run the Mark III belts, right? Yeah, these are Mark III conveyor belts from these all the way over to the locations that are needed. This is just a ghost holder for now in case we need it. So we have everything hooked up that's important, i.e. the heavy hauling stuff, like the copper ore, the iron ore, the coal is now hooked in direct. There's a coal line that runs the entire extent of the base and is hooked into all of the coal buckets now. And we've done a couple of things here to do that just to make things work. Now I have a contemplation of moving this, but I did go ahead and just leave it here for now. The reasoning why is because it needs a decent amount of the, well, we need a decent amount of brine as well as water in this process. And for what it's worth, hauling fluids is not nearly as effective as hauling regular just stuff. So we're just going to leave it right here for now because the endpoint result is over here. If I need to, I can run a belt over to end that stuff. I went ahead and threw a couple of big buckets on, well, big cans, the loose storage 3s on these. I gotta quit using that word. It's not my word. It's someone else's word. But anyhow, we did all this just so I had a little bit more room to buffer. As well, as I've noticed, every time I decide I want to make a big building project, I end up running out of slag because, well, the slag is the thing that's only produced in spurts while we're doing work from some of these other deals. So how are we doing? You guys are sitting there almost filled up. Boop, go, done, nice. Another thing that came with the last batch of upgrades or last batch of updates is the ability to build a chemical plant Mark II. Now, chemical plant 2s will give you an option to do a whole bunch of different researches that you were unable to do with the chemical plant Mark I and Mark II. You can kind of look in here and you'll be able to see where things change. Several of those are using CO2 to do various things. So we can now use hydrogen and carbon dioxide to make ethanol, should we so choose. We can also take carbon dioxide and turn it directly into graphite. This is a very important step because you don't need to be doing this step once you get that point, because you have so much CO2 being produced all over the place that it just makes a big difference to do it. There's a couple of other things that'll be coming up shortly too. Plus we have a Well, we've got some things that we'll be getting into eventually as far as stuff's concerned. But for now, I'm not going to terribly worry about it other than the fact that I have a alarm on this, and once it decides it's going to be too full to do things, I will then have to come back over here, put in a splitter or a balancer, and then dump the CO2 into another chimney because I took it out and I still haven't done that. This is an incredibly long process that these things take. It's 144 exhausts to make 6 of these things. So it's been running for quite a while. I mean, every time these run, they give it 192 exhaust, but they don't run very much anymore. Well, at least they don't run as long as we're not running the base. I have not moved the copper, but I did go ahead and throw in a box that's big enough that we can kind of buffer things a little bit better. And in doing so, I found out that I was not absolutely working very well on, I believe the sulfuric acid was not being produced well enough, so we were actually a little bit low on that. It's another one of those, this is a kind of a growing pains process because they've changed things from the way that I remember it from the last time I sat down and built the base. And again, this is not my end-all be-all base. We're going to finish scrubbing the majority of this out of here, and then I'm going to start filling that hole in and moving this direction. And then we're probably going to start actually tearing a lot of this out and moving it down here into different types of things. We're going to make a little bit better line for electronics. Electronics is going to consume all the amount of copper I can possibly construct. And this is just barely going to scratch the surface. Because again, like I said, in order to run the next set of labs at 4, we have to quadruple our current throughput as far as stuff goes. So if I grab one of these, I believe we can look at it very quickly, and we say use set recipe here. The new labs, get me a new lab. Lab 4, away here. These will be able to eat 48 to make 88. And yes, we're doing a little bit of funny business in here because I did turn the edicts all the way up, so I'm doing research efficiency has been increased by 60%. This absolutely kills when you're trying to do stuff in a hurry. So do whatever you can to get those 6 edicts running. So we've actually turned the water down, I've turned the recycling down, and I am feeding everybody as much as I possibly can. They're getting as much household goods as they possibly can, and they're eating as many household appliances as they possibly can so that I can run that. But yes, the next problem again is, like I said in here, 16, just to be able to run one of these. We need 3 of them each. So yeah, just to run one at 88 compared to where we are right now, which is 44 times 4. Which is going to be 176. So if I want to run 4 of those things, if I even want to run 2 of them, I'm going to have to double the production that we're currently making right now. So that's not going to happen. Not right now. We're not going to be doing that. What I'm going to do with this particular setup is we're going to, over time, slowly increase the vehicle's pollution down as far as we can. So I'm just going to be queuing these up off camera and running these up until they're 20,000 probably, or 15,000 probably, and let them go, because this has definitely made a big deal on our people as far as their complaints for the air pollution, the trains pollution, and the vehicles pollution. We're down what now? Minus 24%. Yeah, we're almost 25% if we kick the next one up. If I kick the next one up, it will be 25%. 25%. Yeah, that's amazing. So that's definitely helping on not having to take care of other things. So what else have I done in between episodes? I think, oh, well, yeah, we did use up all of the copper. Copper is now gone. The hole has been filled in. The project for digging this wall back to being nice and flat is now being taken care of. We've done a little bit of cleanup for the rails as well. I did learn something, and I guess I need to speak on that. I did learn something because I finally watched the tutorial. I guess when it comes to various train processes, systems, things that you're used to doing, I would highly suggest if the person has, or if the game has a tutorial, don't assume exactly what the heck you know what you're doing. I don't need this. I don't need this empty module because these trains are smart enough to understand that there is not a fueling module needed for them. And the other thing that I didn't really realize or find out until I started watching some of the other, watch the tutorial, is the fact that you really don't need more than, well, I mean, unless you're interested in a lot of throughput, you don't need more than 1 or 2 of the particular modules if you're looking at something like this that's going to have a low impact on the way this goes. So this train here, this train now has 4 cars, but I only have 2 modules in place because the train's smart enough to move forward and fill the modules, which is amazing, which is completely different than anything else that I've ever played with as far as trains in a game goes. So I went ahead and pulled, well, I mean, we're still going to leave these here because we want the throughput, but for something like this, I just, well, go have fun. And what it's going to do is it's going to empty its tanks as it needs to empty its tanks on the modules out here. I did leave these things into 2 modules. I don't know which one it's going to go to first. We'll see. But it'll pick one. It might go to this one first. I don't know. Yeah, I figured it's probably going to either go to this one. Yeah, it's going to go to that one likely first. Or it's just going to go back to the station. Okay. So what it's going to do then is it's going to dump off what it can and empty those 2 tanks. And once they're empty, it'll pull forward and dump the next 2 tanks and move on. So for low throughput kind of things, if you're trying to save on materials, this is a big deal. Because, I mean, those stations don't cost a lot, but that's a space saving kind of a thing. So I don't even know why the spaces, these, I mean, I can see uses for them, but I don't understand why these modules are even in this game. The other thing I've noticed, and apparently is possible, is this station can be over here. It can be on this side and still function. The only thing it cares about is whether or not that has been notified as into here. There's a whole lot of other interesting little things. We're not going to dive into it too terribly hard, but what I may end up doing is I may end up scrapping, like, say, all of my iron trains here and turn them into 2 trains that will handle just, like, say, 4 or 6, maybe we'll do 6 cans or whatever, just to get the throughput. Because as long as the train is out flat on flat ground, it travels the same speed, whether it's got 4 buckets or 4 cars or 8 cars. So as long as it's out on a flat ground, its acceleration is roughly the same. The only thing that kills it is every time you make something that has to slow it down is when it slows down. So their throughput working trains, unlike other games, is interesting. So, and you can theoretically just put another engine on the front of that thing and make it go fast. So it is a kind of an interesting thing. I know we're kind of rambling here, and I've been doing a lot of just goofing around. Again, as I stated, we had to move the copper over, so we're now digging into this copper mine, or this copper hill, which is going to allow us access fairly soon to this ugly moonscape of whatever this is, which I may start trying to level so that we can get to this beautiful thing, but that's going to be a later date and a later time. I felt it okay, or smarter I should say, to just drive around this mountain for now, since we already had a kind of a little thing built in here. We're going to probably do a bunch more plateau shaping kind of things here. We're probably going to go ahead and square this area off, and I may end up making this mountain go away as well. Just depends on what I feel like doing, but we definitely are getting there. The other thing I can do now that I have this little area cut down by our other tree farmer cutter thing is we may end up taking a straight shortcut through this level into here, because I do believe these are relatively close to each other as far as height. And then we'll just build the tree farm over here, mainly because there's some water right off the bat. We can raise the saplings right here, and then that would allow us to maybe bring the train line in across the back through here and join up with this mess. We'll have to see how that all goes. That's going to be a while, and I don't know, I may end up cleaning all of this gravel up back here, this rock back up here, and moving farms just straight back instead of up here, because this looks like a nice flat area for production instead of, well, food, but we'll see how it goes. Anyhow, enough of all of those, enough of all of that talking. I just wanted to kind of catch you guys up on where we've been. Essentially, all I've been doing is been letting the game kind of run and working the bugs out of a few things. There is no more ore going into this plant anymore. It is strictly for the terraforming of that mountain, and then once that's gone, it'll go away. The sand has been moved over to a different production system that is going to allow us to do a little bit of sorting on the random crap that we managed to stash into this wall. The wall was raised slightly, although I don't think I needed to do that. I may dig this back just a little more. Right now I have the dumping protocol in place just in case. I'm just making sure that we don't accidentally fill a hole full of water, because it will happen. And if we dig a little too deep into that wall, it will definitely happen. You guys are almost done finding the sand over there, aren't you? I think we'll give them a little bit more. We're not out of it, but we'll see how it goes. The next thing I want to do, now that we're dealing with most of this, I'm going to have to keep an eye on those guys because they're going to squeal at me when things aren't working. Did I get that set with a deal? Is we need to move into the next level of vehicles. So I think with what's left of the rest of the deal today, we're going to go ahead and produce a nice little setup. We're going to move all of this out of the way. I suppose I can actually go ahead and bulldoze that thing too. That's probably, I don't know. Maybe I don't put it over there. Maybe I put it down. Well, the thing is once you get into the mega big dinghies up here, these guys, these mega big excavators, they have a hard time getting in, under, and around things like this. I believe a mega excavator can crawl underneath a pipe at level 5. I believe they can. But in the olden times, back in the day, you couldn't get even a basic excavator underneath one of these. A basic one. Not the one in the middle right now, the medium. So they've changed it because of trains. Because they didn't allow us I believe they gave us an extra height on the belts and the pipes, and they changed the height at which something could go under because they decided trains needed to be a little tall. So then they didn't give us any kind of, like I said, underground pipes or belts that would allow us to transverse under trains. So yes, you can jump your train tracks over the stuff, but it is a little different on that level. So I think we're going to build this thing somewhere out here. I just didn't want to have to drag a fuel line as far as I did, which was why I was kind of thinking we would build it over here. I suppose what I should first do is we're going to fix this ugliness. So, yeah, let's fix this ugliness. We'll start with that. Assembly 4. You're going to make for us this process here. So that's going to be 32 of those per minute, which is going to separate out into 3 of those, or 2 of those. So we're still doing the same thing we were doing before. Okay. So 1, 2. You're going to make this. Oh, I don't need this on anymore. That can go away. Copy, paste. So that's going to make 16 of that. The next one is going to be, because we won't need this, we'll just feed it directly into the back of both of these two. But I am going to keep a certain amount of the yellow ones. I don't want that one. I thought I told it no. We're going to keep a certain amount of the yellow ones because the little trucks, these little trucks right here, well, let's say they're little trucks. The medium trucks are excellent for around base work. So you're never, I would figure you'll probably never stop making these just because they're better suited for tight spaces, kind of like a base that looks like this. Yeah, I know. I need to shut the dump off on that. No, actually, I have that totally in design. Like I said, I want them to keep repairing this hill. Have you guys found all of the sand or most of it? Good. Man, part of me really wants to dig into this hill and keep going because I know there's a whole lot more sand out there. But I think what we'll do from now on is we need to start digging it this direction over here so that I can start backfilling this area. So let's start working on that. I know it's another one of those sidetracks. This is what I love about this game. It's an absolute sidetrack. You are going to be sidetracked no matter what. Thou shalt be distracted. Perfect. Go fill the bucket back up. We're fine. All right. onwards with what we were trying to do. Get the rest of this built. I'm going to come up with some kind of a thing here because essentially, again, like we just saw, it's going to be one of these is going to make 32. Two of these are going to make, well, two of these are going to be able to eat up the 16 that comes out of the 32 that make 16. This is going to consume, where is it? 16 to make 8. So it's just another, yeah. I guess I could double down on that, but that's just an awful lot of stuff when I have all the time in the world. There are certain things I just look at and I go, I have all the time in the world for it. But we are going to, this time, plug everything directly into the back of this so nothing is delivered to it. So anyhow, let me build this out and we'll get it sorted. I guess while we're here messing around, I needed to remember that we're also doing a couple of other things. With the Mega Excavator, Mega Vehicles came the Fuel Station number 3, which holds a considerable amount more fuel than the, the other one prior to that. I think it's more than double. So yeah, it just kind of chewed through everything. So we're going to have to move some fuel around. I think we're getting close to coming up with something here. The issue is I had to look and I had to dig through things because you can see it here. We're going to need, in order to be able to make these trucks, we're going to need to also provide a little bit of extra stuff. So on top of what we already have over here in our buckets, we need to provide some rubber and steel to build these. I don't think we're going to worry about the iron too much anymore, but I do know that that's going to be something else we're going to have to put in here. So I think, nice. That's nice and compact. That should do the work. The only problem is, well, I think that's the end of it. So yeah, we can do whatever we want to do with this now. Where do I want that? If I put you, I mean, I understand they're going to have to truck all those parts down there, but it's not like we're going to be making a lot of things right off the bat. How about we put you about right? Why are you guys driving through there? They just come around that corner. Trucks are silly. Trucks are just nuts. I'm going to build it right up against that. We'll give that a couple of spaces there. I say we build it. Where are you going? This is the other thing that I did neglect to say. I did go ahead and put in a few areas. I do believe I said that. I might have said this last time, and if I didn't, I'm going to say it right now. Because I got really tired of them driving all over the place, we now have several zones assigned. So we have an iron zone up here now. We have a copper zone down here. We have a coal zone, and we have a gold zone. And the only things that are allowed to move in and out of these things are the trains. So it has stopped the stupidity of the trucks driving clear across the map to try to fuel things. But again, there is some stupidity here where that one is driving from this location here all the way the heck over here when there is a station right there. So I may end up having to start thinking about busting this section up too, but this one would end up being very large and I'm not worried about it. But yes, I think we'll build that right there. That way it's out of the way and the vehicle should be able to get to us. And for that matter, then I don't need the fuel tank because we have a fuel line right there. Oh, wait a minute. Something just dawned on me. How much do we need for these things? They require the yellow vehicle parts, so we need to be able to access the yellow vehicle parts box. The yellow vehicle parts box is going to be right there. So yes, I almost screwed that one up. Let's do you down a couple of blocks. And then you can just follow that over. That's the yellow box. Should be. And you are only going to allow to, what is this? Output belts if pipes, only if above You know what? Now looking at that, I wish that that option would allow me to change a specific port. So you should be these vehicle parts. What I should probably do actually is just put a thing in here. I don't think I have a container for the white stuff anymore, do I? I do. I knew it. I knew it. That's great. Okay. You guys all... Can I do... Let me pause all of this real quick. And... I don't know where it's going to put it, but we'll see. Which one is this one? That's the yellows. Did it put it over here? No, it probably put it in the box, which is fine. Anyhow, I'm going to work through this just a little bit. I want to get the inventory moved around so that it's not making an absolute mess everywhere. Because I do want to just delete these. But that one, I may have to make a box to help offload that for now. Okay, so I think we can delete all of that, then they'll clean up the rest of the mess as it goes. Nice. Gotta be careful where you're doing things under a pipe. They will delete the pipe if you're not paying attention. Go. So, we should be able to unpause all of that now and let them go work filling up some boxes. I am going to pause you because I want to use this up first. And then we do a couple of things. We're going to let some boxes fill up. And I'm going to start upgrading, well, some stuff. Because I'm tired of moving mountains with this. So I will be back in a little bit. I think we ought to give this little idea a try, though. I mean, it is something that they did give us in this last little bit. The internet, which connects the settlement to the cloud, which costs computing. That uses 166 teraflops. We've got 576, so I suppose we could do that for a little bit. What does that do? Oh. Oh. Oh, thank you very much. That's kind of an expensive trade-off, but we're looking at running a whole lot of things. I mean, I've got 13 things going on trying to happen, plus an oil rig, plus a couple of other deals. I guess we'll run it for now since we have the excess. It's not costing me a whole lot of power, but yeah. I mean, I have a whole 3 of these going now, and if I need to, I can make another one, I suppose. I need to turn you back on, fill the box, so that we're good. But yeah, these 6 workers are doing the work for us at this point, as far as all of the computing and whatnot goes. We are slowly chewing through this stuff. I've about got this box filled up. We had something like 1,500 of these regular vehicle parts, so we've not even managed to make it through yet. I guess we have an almost full one of these. Let's pick somebody. I suppose we pick you to upgrade to a mega vehicle. You upgrade, and you upgrade, and we'll see those guys roll on here fairly soon, because that shouldn't take too long to at least build 2 of them. I am concerned we may end up having to build an exit for them. We'll see. I don't know if they'll drive underneath. If they'll drive under that pipe, cool. If not, well then we'll make them an exit. I mean, a better exit than this, but that's fine. They can at least get out. And if I have to, I will just build a little lower crossing thingy over here for them so that they can get through. But they should. I mean, like, as far as I remember, everything else out here, I built it all at level 5. So this was going to be a wide, long tunnel full of things, and then I realized that it would be a wide, long tunnel full of pillars. But for now, it's going to work. In the, again, near future, all of this is going to move down, or in the very near future, we're going to fully embrace trains and outposting, which there should be plenty of room on this map to outpost the majority of the material production. So we'll see how that goes. How are you doing? 100% ready. One of y'all should fire up and come on. One of the things I really wish they let you do right here is recover it, because it would take a lot less time, but they don't. So I suppose what you could probably do is recover it and then tell it, you know, do whatever. Recover it and then just let it sit here and not do anything while you wait on it, but we'll see. I don't know. If they'll drive under it, cool. If not, well, then I'll just deal with the need to build crossings. Hello, big boy. You are going to drive around. All right, that's what I needed to know. Well, there's our first mega excavator. We're now going to be able to move a considerable amount of dirt. I'm going to build 4 of those guys, and then I'm going to upgrade about 8 of the larger, or these trucks over here, to the larger trucks, and then we'll go from there. But it can at least get through for there. I think I will probably just build a crossing somewhere right here, probably. There's no reason for them to drive around, but at least, yay. Now we have a big machine that is going to go do a whole lot of moving for us. That one bucket will fill one of these guys. So you're going to have to automatically, almost immediately, change things out. But anyhow, I think for now, I am going to let the system run for a little while. I've got a problem that I'm going to have to resolve because this thing is almost full. I set it to 75%. Has he gotten somewhere? All right, one big scoop. Give me a truck. Give me a truck. Oh, there goes the next one. Come on. I love this. One big scoop. Goodbye, you're full. One big scoop. Goodbye, you're full. So it's awesome compared to these guys. Anyhow, cool. Well, we have our first mega excavator. We'll have another one coming along shortly once that one gets sorted. And as soon as we have 4 of those, I will go ahead and upgrade 8 of the trucks to keep those guys happy. And then we'll see what happens after that. I have a lot of mountain to move. I'd really like to have this mountain moved, and maybe most of that mountain moved, and maybe even some of this mountain moved. But it'll be a while. So I will see you all later. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Hey there. Yes, I know. I'm making you do stupid things.